Hi everyone! I'm really happy to meet you in this video, and in this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about time management. So as you all have heard in your schools from your teachers, parents, even at your church, time is a very valuable thing, and once you lose it, you can't get it back. You can't earn it back, and once the time is lost, it's lost forever. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of managing time as a Christian from the perspective of being a believer and a follower of Jesus Christ. So you see that in the Bible, there is a story that Jesus says, a parable where he says that there is a master who gives out talents to 3 of his servants, 5 talents to one, 2 to the other, and 1 to the last. And he tells them to use those talents and to look after them for him until he comes back from his journey. So when he comes back, he asks his servants for an account of his talents, and the first servant says that he had 5 talents and he managed to multiply them and make them 10. The second servant says he had 2 and now he's made them 4. And the third servant, rather than using his talent or doing something productive with it, he buried his talent because he was too afraid to lose it. And he tells the master that he had just buried it, and he gives him back the 1 talent. So we all know how the story ends. The master says, "My good and faithful servant," to the people who used their talents. And to the servant who didn't use his talent, the master says, "You wicked and lazy servant." So you may be wondering why I'm talking about this in a time management video. But if you think about it, if there's one thing, one talent, or one gift that God has given to every single person who lives in this world, it's the gift of time. So everyone has been given the same number of hours per day, the same number of days per week, and the same number of weeks per year. No one has more and no one has less. So you have 24 hours a day. I have the same 24 hours a day. And people who are, in high positions in the world, or other students, or your classmates, your friends, everyone has the same number of hours in a day. What does make a difference, though, is how you use it or how you don't use it. So what I'm going to do in the rest of this video is show you 2 apps that I found personally very useful to track time and to manage my time and to plan my time. And it makes you more productive, and it also makes you more cautious of wasting time on things that don't contribute to your long-term goals. So I hope you find this episode useful, and the 2 apps that I'm going to talk about are Toggle and Toggle Plan. So the first app that I'm going to review for this video is an app called Toggle. And as you can see here, I've got the Toggle desktop app open. This app is free and you can download it on your laptop or your Android phones or on your iPhones, and it's free across all platforms. You can also download it on other devices like tablets and iPads. So it's a very basic timekeeping app, and it's very simple to use. So before you start any task, you open the app and you tell the app what task it is that you're doing. So I'm going to call this recording review video. And then I'm going to hit the start button, and that will start a timer. So once you hit the start button, it keeps time until you tell it to stop keeping time. And I think this is a good way to keep track of how much time you're spending on every activity you do on a daily basis. If you're like me and you have one of those days when you think, what did I do with all my time, or where did all the time go? This is a good app that helps you keep track of every minute that you're spending throughout the day. And when you're timing yourself, it becomes human tendency to be focused on the task that you're being timed for. So because of this, once you hit the timer, you will feel, you'll realize that you're less likely to get distracted and you're more focused on the task at hand. Okay, so I'm going to stop the timer here. And once you actually make time entries in this app, you can assign this task to various projects. So I've already got 3 projects here, and I'm going to select one of the projects. And as you can see, it updates the time entry with that project. So one of the pros of this app is that it's free, obviously. And then the other thing is that it's synchronized across all devices. So even if if you use it on your laptop and you decide to time yourself from a different location where you don't have your laptop, you can sign into the same account on your phone, and you can time yourself from your phone, and the entry would be added on to your account. And it also has other features that you can find in the settings button here. You can synchronize your time entries once you've done them. You can access your reports where it gives you a bar chart showing how many minutes you spent on each task on each day. But keep in mind, this only reflects the times that were actually recorded using this app. You can adjust your preferences. You can use the timer on manual mode, which is what I'm doing right now. You can use a mini timer, and it's got a built-in tutorial. And the other features of this app is that, which you can adjust in your preferences, is that you can set it. So if you haven't used your timer for a long time during the day and you're using your laptop to work or you're using your phone to do something, it constantly reminds you to time yourself. So there's always a constant reminder for you to keep timing every task that you do. The other thing is that if you're like me and you let the timer run for a while, and let's say you're reading and you leave the timer running as you're reading, and if you're not reading on your laptop or on your phone and you're using a book to read, after 5 minutes of being idle, the app actually comes up with a pop-up that says, are you still doing this task? Are you still working on the same thing? Do you want me to keep this time entry, or do you want me to discard it because you've been distracted with something else? So you can always tell it to carry on timing you, or you can tell it to discard it and start again, depending on how far you get with the task. So I find this app really helpful to keep track of activities, of where I spend my time through the day, of what takes up most of the time during the day. Is that in line with what I want to achieve in that week? And more importantly, it lets you identify how long you're actually spending on certain activities. So you might be thinking that you're only watching YouTube videos for 20 minutes a day. Maybe that's what you think. But once you actually start timing yourself, you'll realize how much more or how less time you're actually spending doing that activity. And knowing how much time you spend on each activity is actually pivotal to be able to plan your day effectively. So if you know exactly how much time an activity needs, you can plan that into a certain time point in your day, and you can get that task done within that time, especially if it's a regular activity that you do. For example, reading the Bible or praying, you can fit it into your daily schedule at a certain time if you know exactly how much time it takes you to achieve your daily target. I'll talk more about that in the second app that I'm going to review, but this is Toggle Desktop, and I hope you find this video useful. The second app that I'm going to talk about in this video is an app called Toggle Plan. And as you can see from my screen, I'm actually accessing this app online. So this is one of the downsides to using this app, is that you need to have an internet connection to be able to use it. And here I've opened it on my laptop on a browser. So you can't download the software onto your laptop. It has to be accessed on a browser, which is one of the negatives to this app. But it has a free version which has most of the features that are that I need. So I find that the free version is more than enough for the purposes that I use it for. And if you wanted to use the app for for project management or team management or more sophisticated things like that, you might want to go for the paid version. So this is also a negative with the Toggle app that I reviewed earlier, because the Toggle app, you can't actually synchronize your time entries. You can't synchronize your time entries to your account unless you have a Wi-Fi connection. So without internet, it would still take your time entries into account, but it won't synchronize it to your account until you're connected to the internet, which I'm sure most phones have. So if you make your time entries on your phone, it should synchronize straight away. So the second app, which is the Toggle Plan app, is also available across Android and iPhones, and also, as you can see, on a desktop, as long as you're using it with an internet browser. So this is also a very simple app to use. Although it looks sophisticated by the looks of it, it's actually quite easy to use. So on here, you can see that you can add segments, and I've added different segments, to track my personal life, my church activities, my work, my job hunting, my household duties, and my courses that I do. So I can add another segment here, and for now, I'm just going to call it demo. And as you can see, that adds a new segment. So here, if I wanted to add an activity, I just click on the day that I want to schedule the activity for. So today is Wednesday. So let's say I want to schedule it for tomorrow. then I just click and it opens up a window for me to add a task in. So I'm going to say edit review video. And then you can set it, you can set the date here as well. Even if you click on a different day, you can set the date here. You can decide how long you think it'll take you per day. As I said, if you've already used the Toggle app to do this activity before, this will help you plan a lot better because you'll know exactly how long this activity will take you. The other great thing about this app is that you can add a checklist. So you can say, copy videos over, add effects, adjust sound, and so on and so forth. And as you make progress through this checklist, you can tick whatever activity you think you've done. And if I close it, you can see a progress bar here that tells you how far along you've actually gone in completing that task. And you can also use this as a management app where you can actually assign the task to a specific individual. So here in my tasks, I've added an accountability partner. So I added my friend here. So if I just click on this person symbol here, let's say this task is actually their job and not mine. I can just add them to that list and their name comes up here. So if I wanted to assign an activity for myself, say record video, then I can assign that task to myself the same way. So I just click on the person icon there and put my name there. So another thing with this app is that you can also change the status of the app to say either in progress or blocked or done. And actually the to-do list was something that I made up earlier, but I can run through how to do that now. So there's two ways of viewing your plan. So either you can view it as a timeline as I've shown here, and you can also set deadlines. For example, you just set a day and then you say add milestone and you set your deadline there. It shows up here, as you can see. And you can also switch your view to a board view. So basically a board view shows you the same list of activities, but you have them as lists. So here, as you can see, I've created a list called to-do list here. You can also add new statuses here. You can call it completed, which is the same as done, really. And if you click on this box here, it lets you assign a smiley to it. So for now, I'm just going to go with that. And as you complete your task, let's say there is a task that I've completed. I'm going to say video review is completed. So I just move it to that area there. And if I go back to my timeline, as you can see here, it shows you that the task is completed with the smiley face that I set for it earlier. So Toggle Plan is actually an app that you can use for team and project management, but obviously I'm using it to plan my day, as you can see. And it helps you keep track of deadlines. It helps you keep track of days that you're on holidays or, weekends when you might have other commitments. And it helps you segment your work so, you're not confused and your work is not cluttered and everything is organized in a way that's easy to follow. And as you go along and complete your task, you can just open up your task and change it to completed. And again, that also shows up here and on the board view that I showed earlier. So the only downside to this app is that you need to have an internet connection to use it on a laptop, and you should be able to, and you should be connected to the laptop for it to update the changes that you're making. On the other hand, you can also download it on your phone, and it's compatible across devices, so that's a plus. So both the apps that I've reviewed in this video, the Toggle and the Toggle Plan app, are both very simple apps to use that you can use to keep track of the time that you're spending each day on different activities, and also to plan your day, plan the time that you have for each day, break it down into hour slots or half an hour slots, depending on how busy your life is, and plan activities into each day so that you can keep on top of your tasks. and also make sure each day that you spend is productive. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you find these two apps as useful in managing your time as I did. If you have any questions, then please send them to my email address given below, and please subscribe to our channel, Church of the Living God, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!